Disney Cruise Line just delayed the Disney Adventures Maiden Voyage. It is no longer in December 2025. That means all cruises between December 15th, 2025 and March 12th, 2026 are officially canceled. That brand new ship coming to Singapore won't be sailing in December 2025 anymore. The Maiden Voyage has officially been pushed back 3 months to March 2026. And if you're wondering, what does this mean for my cruise? What do I do if I was booked? Don't worry, I've got all the details you need right here. So here's the big picture. Originally, the Disney Adventure was supposed to debut December 15th, 2025 and sail regularly after that. The Disney Adventure is that ship that is over in Singapore for the next 5 years. They're doing 3 and 4 day Magic at Sea cruises. The ship is the destination. This ship is meant to be like a theme park at sea, and that's part of the reason that we have the delay. Now, maiden voyages are a big deal in the Disney cruising world. These are once-in-a-lifetime sailings. They will almost always sell out, prices soar, and the excitement is through the roof. People book them years in advance just to say, I was there when the ship first sailed. So the anticipation for this ship has been building for years. But on September 10th or September 11th, depending on which part of the world you are in, Disney Cruise Line sent out an email letting those that are booked on the Maiden Voyage know that things have changed. And not just the Maiden Voyage, the first 3 months of sailing. Now, all cruises between December 15th, 2025 and March 12th, 2026 are impacted. That means not just the Maiden Voyage guests, but everyone who snagged those early sailings. Those cruises are officially canceled. Instead, the Maiden Voyage has been pushed back to March 10th, 2026. This affects 25 sailings scheduled between those dates. That's a big deal for thousands of guests who are ready to embark on this historic journey from Singapore. So let's talk about the part that everyone cares about. What does this mean for guests that are already booked? Well, first of all, if you're booked on any of these cruises, you've likely already received an email from Disney or from your travel agent, and they will offer you flexible booking options. For the Maiden Voyage guests only, they will automatically be rebooked to the new March 10th, 2026 sailing at 50% off, or can choose a full refund plus 50% off a future cruise. Of course, they've got booking and cancellation dates. Check into all of that. All of the other impacted guests will receive a full refund and 50% off a future sailing. So if you were booked on that Maiden Voyage, Disney is automatically moving you to the new Maiden Voyage on March 10th, plus you're going to get a 50% discount on that fare. That's huge. If you can't sail on the new date, you can opt for a full refund, plus you'll still get a future cruise credit of 50% off your next cruise. For those not booked on that Maiden Voyage, anyone else on those affected sailings, your cruise is canceled, but you'll get a full refund and that same 50% discount on a future sailing. This is honestly one of the most generous offers I've seen Disney make in a situation like this. They don't have to give 50% off across the board. Unfortunately, part of cruising can mean delays and changes, and that's part of the agreement. So I am glad to see that they are trying to make up with compensation for people, because this is a huge disappointment. It's a lot of travel for some people to get over there. It's a big deal, and this is a great reminder why trip insurance is really important for trips, because if they didn't do something like this, it's good to have trip insurance that can pay you back. And just a pro tip, make sure you get the right type of insurance. Check into what you're getting for your trip insurance, because, for example, one time we took a big trip. There was 4 of us. We did a big trip on the Fantasy with the Walt Disney World. We ended up at the last minute, literally 2 days before the trip, at Thanksgiving no less, having to make a change. Somebody needed to change. When I purchased the trip insurance, I didn't make sure that it had cancel for no reason, which is what we would have done in that instance if I had purchased that type of trip insurance. So we ended up just paying for the airfare for someone else to go with us. It was fabulous. I'm glad we did it. That was no problem with Disney Cruise Line. We paid them $50 for the name change. But I did learn in that instance that not all trip insurance is created equal. Make sure and verify what your trip insurance actually covers, because you don't want to get surprised by that, along with changes to your trip. So while the delay is definitely inconvenient and I'm sure disappointing for so many, the silver lining here is that the impacted guests are being rewarded for their frustrations and delays. So what's going on? Why is this happening? First of all, Disney is clearly prioritizing quality over speed, which is good news for the final product. They don't want to cut corners on their first ship designed specifically for the Asian market. Plus, this is a huge flagship piece for them. This is their theme park at sea. It needs to be done right. The Disney Adventure is very important strategically. This isn't just another ship in the fleet. It's the biggest. It's based in Singapore. It's the first one to be in Asia. It's designed to open up a whole new audience to Disney cruising. So a 3-month delay is definitely frustrating, but in the grand scheme of things, it's probably the right call. We do have a quote here. Joe Schott, president of Disney Signature Experiences, stated, quote, "As we work on the final touches to bring the Disney Adventure to our guests, we've encountered unexpected delays in the shipbuilding process. To ensure the experience we deliver reflects our commitment to excellence, we've made the decision to adjust our timeline. We know this may be disappointing to our guests, and we're working directly with them to offer flexible rebooking options and uphold the trust they place in us." And I will say this is one of the reasons that we love Disney Cruise Line, that we love cruising with Disney, is because they do put quality first. Quality and safety, and they're not going to skimp. They're not going to cut corners just to make that deadline for that maiden voyage. They're going to take the hit. They're going to make people frustrated and upset with them, and they're going to take the financial hit and give refunds and future cruise credits, but they're going to do it right, and I do respect that. So I know the delay stings, especially if you were counting down the days to sail on the Disney Adventure, but let's talk about why this might actually be a good thing. The Disney Adventure is set to be Disney's largest ship with a capacity for 6,700 passengers. It's packed with unique features like a roller coaster at sea, the longest one ever, 7 themed areas inspired by Moana, Toy Story, Big Hero 6, Marvel superheroes, and more. Their first ever castle at sea, bringing that magical Main Street USA vibe to the ocean. Disney's taking extra time to make sure every detail is perfect, from the character interactions to the dining experiences to the exclusive Duffy merchandise. We got a look at the dining experience recently, and I've got to say, the dining on the Disney Adventure looks amazing. If you really want to dive into that, go check out the sneak peek we have for the Disney Adventure cruise ship dining once you're done with this video. This ship is a bold new chapter for Disney, and they want it to blow us away. So while it is disappointing, I'm confident Disney's using this time to make the adventure truly unforgettable. Now, if you're affected by the delay, here's what you need to do. Check your email or check with your travel agent. Disney is already sending communications with your specific options. Also, decide quickly, because maiden voyages are always competitive, even with the date shift. If you want to keep your spot, make sure you confirm it as soon as you can. And then plan your future cruise credit wisely. That 50% discount is a rare deal. You might want to use it on a more expensive sailing like Alaska or Europe. If you want to get the most bang for your buck with it, I highly suggest a repositioning cruise, a transatlantic Panama Canal. Also, check in with any travel insurance that you might have for your hotels and flights. Rebook your flights and hotels as soon as possible if you had travel tied to your canceled sailing. Sometimes airlines will allow changes when cruises are canceled for reasons outside your control, but the sooner you act, the more options you're going to have. Plus, make sure you check on any travel insurance that you may have purchased. Check in with that and see how that might apply to this situation. So Disney cited delays in the shipbuilding process, which honestly isn't shocking. Cruise ships are some of the most complex projects in the world, and with a ship of this size, plus Disney purchased this from the Global Dream, so they had to refit it. Even though it was 70% completed, I think they had to redo a lot more than that. So I see how things could not always stay on schedule. None of us want a rushed or unfinished product, especially on a maiden voyage. The expectations are sky high. You've got the roller coasters and the amusement park type rides on here. We're certainly used to delays with those in theme parks. We want this stuff to be working properly, and so does Disney. So the good thing here though is that the Disney Adventure isn't just sitting in the shipyard being worked on. It is still evolving. On September 1st, the Disney Adventure departed the Wismar, Germany shipyard to undergo its first sea trials. Reportedly, there are over 1,400 workers on board during these trials, so they are on the ship getting it ready for us. These trials are being conducted in the Baltic Sea and the North Seas. Specific tests include assessments of technology and systems and moving the ship between ports as part of these trials. The first set of trials has actually already occurred, and a second round of sea trials is expected later in September. So the exterior work is largely complete. They're still doing a little bit there, but the interior work is what is causing some of the delays most likely. The theme spaces, the storytelling elements, but we did get a look from some drone footage recently. You can see they definitely still have some work to do on the interior of the ship. So where are we now? Well, the Disney Adventure has left the shipyard. They conducted their first sea trials. Their second round of sea trials is expected later in September. And we did get verification recently from a Disney Cruise Line insider that the Disney Adventure will be coming to the US before its maiden voyage. Now that was under its old timeline before this communication went out. So we'll see how that adjusts as time goes by. I would imagine they are still coming over here. There's probably a reason that they need to. They were also expected to pick up crew and perhaps have a media event in Florida. So of course, make sure you're subscribed, ring the little bell. It'll let you know as soon as we have any new information. You know I love to share the Disney cruise news. Were you booked on the December maiden voyage or planning one of those early sailings? Let me know in the comments below how this delay is affecting your plans and if you're going to take them up on that 50% offer. And if you haven't seen it yet, we've heard a few rumors. Is Disney building a Pixar cruise ship?